Mm.
And we got the green light. I think we're rocking. We'll see if this thing kicks in or not. I can't stand this doggone thing. It's daylight savings time here, so
We're really behind on the voice and the voice and the mouth working.
we got a lamp behind us. Daylight savings time. I don't know why we're still doing that stuff, but
Why do we do that?
I don't know. I have no idea. I've heard multiple reasons why. Everything from kids getting on school buses in daylight instead of dark.
Yeah, I think I heard that one too.
But I had a great duck hunt because we didn't start shooting until 7 o'clock. And so in fact, I just got to keep getting up earlier and earlier for these things. So I don't know. We lost Rudy. Rudy Bosch, 44 years in the Navy as a UDT frogman of the SEAL. And I remember me and Diane, because of Survivor, have never missed a season of Survivor. And I was in SEAL Team 2's training department, hanging out like we always do. And we don't have any training going on, we just hang out and shoot the shit. And in comes Rudy, and he'd been retired for a number of years. But he just paraded around like he owned the place all the time, and came in and sat down and started telling us all about this TV show he was going on, and got into these items he was allowed to bring. Turns out they're comfort items or something. And he was just always a colorful guy. Everybody has a number of Rudy stories. So died at 91, the oldest contestant ever on Survivor.
We went to up in Virginia Beach. It was a big waterfront restaurant up there, and we went. My son went. It was for Zodiac Boats. One of our good friends, a SEAL, worked for Zodiac for a long time. And Rudy's wife, Marge, had been diagnosed with cancer, and at that point, she had to wear a hat or a scarf or something all the time. And you know, when you're out in the sunlight, your face is very unforgiving. You know, the sunlight makes all your wrinkles and everything show up way worse than when you're inside. I remember standing there and talking to her and laughing with her. She was one of the most beautiful women I ever saw, honestly. Even with cancer. I mean, I think she only lived about 6 months after that. But she was absolutely beautiful and had the most piercing eyes. And she was cutting up and laughing and just having the best time there with Rudy. And that just impressed me. Just impressed me so much. Her whole attitude with that thing, and to see how happy they were. They raised their girls and just had a good marriage. So nothing but wonderful thoughts about him and his wife forever. He was so beloved, but I'll tell you right now, he was intimidating as hell. I don't care how long you were a SEAL. I don't care who you were. When you were in the presence of Rudy Bosch, he was sort of larger than life and intimidated all you guys, didn't he?
Get a haircut.
Yeah, he had that. I remember when he was on Survivor. You know, anything you do as a SEAL, it always reflects on the whole community. So Don, of course, knew Rudy. I didn't know Rudy well. I had just met him a few times. But Don would watch that show, Survivor, and then Don would go, "Oh, man, Rudy, don't say that." And he was talking about Richard, the big guy that actually won Survivor. And he was a homosexual and let it be known. And him and Rudy were big buddies on that show. And he would say that he just loves Richard to death. Not in a homosexual way. I mean, he just said that so many times. It was funny.
I like Richard. Not in a homosexual way, that's for sure.
That's for sure. He sort of talked like John Wayne.
We went to a memorial service for a SEAL that had died, and Rudy was in the audience, and the guy giving the eulogy said, "I see Rudy in the audience. I've always liked Rudy, but not in a homosexual way, that's for sure."
Yeah.
He was something. He came up to, we were running training up at AP Hill for the STT guys, and him and the captain just popped in, and it just happened to have been one of those nights where the stars aligned. When him and the captain showed up, there were guys sleeping in the fire. The big bonfire they had, there were guys sleeping in the ashes, beer cans everywhere, just bodies everywhere. It was just Rudy.
My
What the
son,
hell's going on around here?
my son had made it through boot camp and was waiting to go to Bud's. And so him and a handful of other guys got stationed while they're waiting up there on Little Creek on the base. And they would go over to the SEAL team, and they were just little bitches, for all the teen guys doing shit that they didn't want to do. And my son went to the gym, and Rudy was working out in there. And he was just idolized by my son, the way his body looked at his age, and still in there without a shirt on, working out and lifting those weights. I'll never forget him talking about him like he was some kind of a god or something. He just loved him.
He was. Yeah. Lots of stories about Rudy. So, on to the duck hunt?
Oh, I know you guys saw the video. There's no way that you can capture every funny thing that is said or done in one video. We had an absolute blast this weekend. We've had children come down here before that were not experienced hunters, but I don't know that we've ever had two that had never pulled the trigger or hunted in any kind of way. Slade's children, Mikey is more sort of like Slade, but Gunner is very artistic and into that kind of stuff, and really is not out there like Slade is. And I think we were all a little bit concerned with him. But after he got that first duck, he is hell on wheels now. Don's buying the boys guns for the Christmas present. They're already making plans to come back. And everybody knows Slade's story. You guys were introduced to Slade on here and know how he's just been riddled with surgeries and pain and everything, and not a lot of time to just have one-on-one time with him and the boys. When he wasn't deployed, he was having another surgery or something, so this was a much-needed break for the three of them, and they had a ball. If you could have seen Slade's face when they came back in here, I had a big breakfast laid out for him, and the other two kids as well. Slade couldn't take his eyes off of Gunner. He was grinning from ear to ear, and he just kept patting him on his shoulder and rubbing him. He was just such a proud daddy. And we went to the Ducks Unlimited dinner last night, and they had a ball. Don did a very good introduction to Slade, and of course got a long-standing ovation. And Mikey won some big loot, some big camouflage, like 3 pieces of stuff to put his shells in and stuff. So we had to do something for Gunner, and there's a silent auction where you can go up and you can put your name down, on how much you want to spend. I was not going to let Gunner go home empty-handed after his brother had won all this loot. So it was like a knife,
Big folding knife.
a big folding knife, but that thing was like that flipping big. And when you opened it up with the blade, it was about that big. You could have probably got that thing for $10 online somewhere. We ended up paying $100 for that damn knife just to make sure that he got it. We laughed our butts off. So he's going home. He's very, very proud of that knife, and I think that those boys and Slade is going to remember that forever. Don did such a good job. He worked so hard to make sure everything was perfect. And the skeet thing you said worked out good, helping the boys.
Yeah, to get them over to the skeet range here. We had a guy that instructs a lot of kids doing that. And we met over there. We only had about 30 minutes for him to get some shells through. So I was telling him the shots I wanted to work on. I want you to work on those shots that are coming straight at those boys. Get them out there and fire that out of that high tower at that skeet range and get them coming, because that's where the ducks are going to come tomorrow. I've made sure of that through the decoy placement and just knowing I'm going to put them, because those short-barreled guns, God bless you K9 Lever, they got on them. That's all they could handle was those light, they're little boys. They couldn't handle anything bigger. So low brass, steel shot, 20 gauge, number 6s, and I had to get those birds right in their little grinning mugs. And it was, I mentioned it in the video, that they didn't know what to expect. When they got out to the skeet range, you know, those guns were, even though it was skeet rounds, they weren't real excited about doing that. A, they weren't hitting any. They finally connected with a few, but me and Slade had to push them. Come on, man, suck it up. I know it's cold out here. Suck it up. Come on, you know, suck it up. Shoot, get that gun up. Quit dropping it. You know, it's just, you don't want to overcorrect them and stuff, but, you know, you start getting a little frustrated because they're getting frustrated. And I just had to pump them up. And it's just like the amusement park analogy. You boys have no idea what's about to happen in the morning. I do. Slade doesn't. You boys don't. I promise you it's going to be, and sure it was. We got them out there in the morning, and they're always real chipper. They showed up that morning like they had just had a case of Cokes down them. They were all ready to go, but it was cold. Got them in the blind. We're in the mud and in the water, and got everything set up. I put the decoys out early, and I said, you know, get ready, because we're allowed to start shooting 30 minutes before sunrise, which was 7:02. And I said, just hang on to your hats, because here it comes. I wish they would allow shooting 40 minutes before legal sunrise, because I had a spotlight out there. And every time those ducks would start coming in, I was hitting them with the spotlight to run them out. Get the hell out of here. Don't land here now. Can't shoot now. And so you got to kick them all out. And then all hell broke loose. I don't know how many. I think the EPA is going to get me from the amount of steel. I think we have changed the tide levels here locally from the amount of steel shot that went out. And then there were 2 other boys that Sam had hunted here last year, and it took him a long time. He was shooting a single shot 20 gauge, and his older brother had a 12 gauge, but he'd never done it. It was complete novice stuff, and working them and warrior and just shooting and shooting and shooting. I mean, those ducks were right there, and all 4 of them would miss them, and off they'd go. Next, miss them, and you're just trying to work with them, get your face down. You know, get the gun up, and then finally it started happening. Finally, it started. The first duck came in, as you saw the video, it landed right on Gunner's head, and then they started. Then they couldn't miss. They figured it out. Okay, this is what I got to do, because we kept them coming in like that. And a whole bunch of ducks later, we recovered all of them, and we ended it at 8:30. Started shooting at 7:02, and we could still hunt. And I said, I had a bad retrieve with Warrior, and I said, I had finally got in with him after finding that bird, and I said, what do you guys think? Is anybody hungry? And they were all like, yeah, I'm pretty hungry. All the men, everything. I was ready to stay out there, but yeah, we're all hungry. We're all hungry. I was like, all right, let's pack it in, man, go up. So had breakfast, and it did Slade a lot of good. Seals are gone a lot. Seals are not really good fathers a lot of the time. The boys get neglected. The mothers raise them. That's always been my theory for sons that don't make it through SEAL training when the dad did. It's because their mothers have raised them. But it did Slade a lot of good. Yeah, he had a flippin' good time with those boys and the Ducks Unlimited dinner.
Well, we had the plan down. They were going to be in here early on Friday. He was going to pick the kids up from school, and he was going to be down here early, 2:30 or 3 o'clock. He has been waiting for months and months and months to get his appointment with the VA, which he desperately needed. It was going to affect his um, disability pay and all that stuff. Well, guess when he got it? He got the damn appointment on Friday, so it sort of pushed everything back, and I mean, he had to do that appointment, but finally he got down here, and I had my alarm set for 8 o'clock, I think, so that I could get up and get all the breakfast and stuff made. And I've never heard the amount of freaking shooting in my life. I jumped out of that bed and I thought, okay, they're really getting a hell of a lot of ducks or they're not getting nothing. Well, at that point, they weren't getting nothing because it was just firing and firing. I never saw Warrior go out for a retrieve. But like Don said, then they got it. And when they came out with all those ducks, all those boys were grinning from ear to ear. And the other boys that came hunting, what a great dad they have. He is just an old country, nice as he can be, and his wife is pregnant with their 12th child. I asked 3 times, 12? You've got 12 kids? And he just laughed. I thought,
7 boys and
I don't know what I'd do with 12 kids, but
but he's a good dad too. He brought
yeah,
them
he's a
up.
good daddy.
Last year his son did something screwy and he didn't bring him. He didn't allow him to come. So they had a good time. But I kept the boys with those. They had little pump shotguns, and I only let them put 1 shell in at a time. And this is how you. I remember my son when I got him a pump shotgun that he could fire 3 shells. He fired 3 shells. There was not a duck that was coming in that did not get shot at 3 different times. And I told the boys, the least amount of shooting you do, the better this hunt's going to be if you were just blasting away at these things. And so we controlled it really well. It was very safe, kept the guns out, kept them standing up most of the time. And yeah, I'm off to a good start. My hero status is still up. And the Ducks Unlimited dinner
He's going crazy.
was great. The little boys led everyone in the Pledge of Allegiance and all that other stuff. Won some shit. So K9 Lover asked Warrior. Warrior is not in here. I opened the door just before we came. Coda's in here, but Warrior is outside doing something. Probably trying to find a cripple or something.
We went to town today to restock on groceries. We didn't have anything for the dogs, and we went down to that golf course, that Dawn's been talking about. And I just pulled right into the very front of the entrance where you start the long track up there, and they have a white split rail fence. Well, my little ones just went right underneath that fence. Dawn was going to walk over there and look at one of the ponds that they have. That big galoot Warrior could not figure out how to get through that fence. Dawn was trying to coax him through. It was so funny. I wish I would have filmed it. Finally, he found a break and he got in there.
There you go. Somebody had a quick question.
Greg wants to know where's his gun.
Your gun, I saw it out by the duck blind the last time I saw it. I think it's out there. I'll get it tomorrow. The last I saw it was in the mud, and somebody stepped on it. That's how I knew it was there. I'll get it. Nicknames in SEAL Team. I always go into this thing. Okay, so nicknames in SEAL Team. We don't have nicknames like Ninja and Black Widow and shit like that. We don't do that. That's some Hollywood ass shit. There's some colorful nicknames, and usually you get it for doing something stupid. I'll tell you, that's the #1 way of getting a nickname in SEAL Team is doing something stupid. Other words, a guy named Gabriel will get the nickname Gabby. A guy named Madison will get the nickname Mad Dog. I was boats in the Navy because I was a bosun mate, and things like that. But there's no gunner and thumper and all these crazy ass things that people think up there. We just don't do that. But the greatest nickname ever, and I never knew who the guy was for years. I only knew the nickname. I never knew his real name.
I know what you're going to
Mad
say.
Dog knows who it is, and that's Cowfucker.
I knew it.
That's what everybody. I deployed with Cowfucker. That was the craziest son of a bitch and seal and give a shit motherfucker I've ever met. And it's a terrible fucking story, but cow fucker started it himself. And I said when he was a little boy, he fucked a cow and it shit in his pants. And he went to, and his mom saw the cow shit in his pants and knew he did it. Takes all kinds, I guess. And that's what everybody knew him as, cow fucker. And
his wife was known as Mrs. Fucker.
That's right. He'd introduce her as Mrs. Fucker. That's all anybody ever called him was cow fucker. And I'm not even going to say his name on here, but I'd see his name on these lessons plans for communications. Mad Dog knows what I'm talking about. I was like, who the hell is so-and-so? Finally, so no, it's cow fucker. That's cow fucker. I never even knew his name, but that's what that was there. Funniest nickname ever was certainly cow fucker. And I deployed with that guy, and oh my God, we were loading stores on the once on the Guadalcanal and once on the I forget which one it was. We had these secret barges out in the Persian Gulf. We were loading stores for something, and every time a hunk of meat, it was a chain thing, loading it. They were just passing stores up to load the ship. Cowfucker had his dick out the whole time.
Oh, God.
With all these Marines and all these sailors. He just had it hanging out there, and everything that came past him, he would slap his wiener across it and pass it on to the next guy. And pass it on to the next guy. And we had these guys on these barges, and they were Indians. We were out in the Persian Gulf. And the Indians, we called them spinnies. And the spinnies would clean your rack up, make your bed, do your laundry, cook. They did everything, and he fucking hated them. He didn't want them anywhere around his rack. And we slept on regular Navy type racks on these floating barges out there. So you are, the guy above you is maybe that high up, and Cowfucker would lay in his rack and cough up phlegm and spit it straight up on there, and then he would take a little like toothpick, tongue depressor, whatever, and he would form it into a stalagmite. Form that thing into this perfectly crystal, and they were all over that thing, so that his nose and those spinnies never went through near his bed. The whole bed was covered in these snot things. So,
oh God.
Yeah. And I think if it says it, I think Mad Dog will confirm it. I think it was Cowfucker that used to spit in his shirt all the time. I think it was Cowfucker. I'm thinking of him or the other guy. He walked around with a huge wet spot on his PT. We wore PT gear, these blue and gold T-shirts. And it was always just a big wet spot right here because he'd go. And spit all his Copenhagen down the front of his shirt all the time.
So you couldn't find glasses, and I told you to go in there and get your reading glasses out of my purse. You know those are my glasses, right?
Well,
they're blue.
You know what? I was in a pinch there. It's Mad Dog. No, it's not Mad Dog. What is the joke nickname? The Pakistani electrician. I think you're talking about Mumbles. If you're talking about that, the Afghani electrician that we had in Afghanistan in Kabul, and I think that's who you're talking about, Mumbles, because all he had was a screwdriver, a pair of pliers, and some electrician's tape, and he was in charge of that entire compound, the electricity. If he needed to find out if there was current going through it, he'd just touch the wires. So he just, from all the electricity, and he just mumbled. So
Seahawk,
mumbles.
the tomahawk behind us was made by a good friend of ours, Martin Bezick, that I'm sure you've seen on here before, and that was for Don's retirement. That Mark had that made. by a very cool guy that lives up in Indiana. He's the closest thing to a true mountain man that you have ever met in your life. His coat, he wears these handmade moccasins that he made himself, and he actually made our chandelier that was back in the cabin. It's now down in the barn, made out of deer antlers. It's beautiful, and he handmade that, but he did that for Don for his retirement ceremony.
There's something about a vague answer here. I don't know what other answer. The guy made it for me there, and now you can read about it in the New York Times. It's kind of old news now, but the SEALs deploying with tomahawks, a whole bunch of them would have them, and that all came out from the guy that from the movie The Patriot or Last of the Mohicans. I forget what movie that was from. Whatever the guy was that made those tomahawks for them. I mean, original, old 1700 tomahawks, the French and Indian War type of things, that he would make them. And he got these huge orders from SEAL team. Make them, send them, and they would deploy with them. So that is deployed to Iraq, Afghanistan. Yeah.
And Steph, the reason that a SEAL would share a story like that is because whoever has the grossest, most out there story on SEAL team wins. So that was a badge of honor for him to be able to tell that disgusting story, I'm sure.
Oh, we've had some, I keep telling people on here, I'd never go too deep into, but when you recruit, and you're recruiting using machine guns, explosives, grenades, camouflage paint, guys in Vietnam wearing blue jeans, I mean, you are attracting guys that did not grow up playing the violin. And
Yep, it's a wild bunch, but he's very proud to be called Cal Fucker, and that's why he introduces his wife as Mrs. Fucker.
oh, he's a great guy. Awesome SEAL. Mr. Fucker. Mr. Cal Fucker. And there's been some other extraordinarily colorful dudes that me and Mad Dog grew up with. I mean colorful. So, but you guys ask away and I tell. So there you go. You wanted to know the strangest nickname ever? That was certainly Cal Fucker. So, what else do we got here? Who's all over me about some vague answer? Stuffed Donkos on me. It's not a vague answer. I got it. I think it was Dirty Dan. Oh, Dirty Dan. Dirty. Now you got now Mad Dog's on another one. He's going to have to get on here and talk about Dirty Dan sometimes. They get all that med cruise on the Guadalcanal. It was not a med cruise. It was that went into the Persian Gulf, and that was it wasn't a med cruise, and it was around 87, 88. We went into the Persian Gulf.
Trucker Dean, I got your message. As far as I know, that date sounds good to me in December. We're just trying to figure out about Suezo and them. I didn't know if you wanted to be here when Suezo was here or if you would rather avoid him altogether. It's up to you, but I did not run that specific date by Dawn, but as far as I know, I think that'll be good, and we look forward. Our freezer needs restocked before the big hunting season comes.
We are all over the place. So yeah, we're the next hunt is the Grand National, and I'll let these birds settle down out here. I got a really good thing going on as long as I don't pressure them too much, and I can't do that. So the Grand National, we got 2 wounded guys coming in for that, and then I don't know what in the hell Suezo is doing. Greg Suezo's on here a lot. He's a very big donor down here. He's been down a couple of times. I bring in his group of dudes, and now he's bringing a Marine reconnaissance. His best friend in this world is a Marine reconnaissance guy, and Greg is all over about him, all over about him, all over about him. He said, I want you to talk to him. I want you to talk to him and verify him and verify him. I asked him a couple of diving and weapons related questions, and he couldn't answer any of them. I said, he's a fucking fake. Do not bring that motherfucker up here. Do not bring him up. He's not a fake. He's not a fake. I was like, you're really risking a lot bringing that dude up here. So everybody's got a SEAL pet and a Marine Recon pet, and I hope he checks out. If you can't answer basic rules, and I didn't even bring it on. I want you to verify him. Here he is. I'm handing the phone to him now. What does SCUBA stand for? It's been a long time since I. It's been a long time. Okay. All right, we got a problem here.
So Don's talking to the guy that's over at the skeet shooting range because Don they want to take money, but he wanted to gift him with something. So we had a very expensive bottle of Maker's Mark, and so Don said, "Are you a drinking man? I wanted to bring you some nice whiskey over." And he said, "No, I don't drink." But he said, "My roommate's a Navy SEAL and he drinks." So Don just put the bottle of booze back in the bar. Like, okay. So we just can't go around this town busting everybody because we're new.
And I've already verified the guy before.
And we have got to.
We got a member over here.
We have to make friends. We can't be busting everybody in Cambridge.
Yeah, it's getting tight around here, man.
Everybody's related to everybody around here. I mean, you can't say shit about anybody. Everybody's related and everybody knows everybody. So we just sort of have to stay down here on this little 80 acres and bust people that don't live in this town. That's what we got to do.
I made a nice little speech for Slade at the Ducks Unlimited dinner and related two stories. And one was us pulling out of here that morning. We were in a convoy to take all the boys up to show them how the duck picker does the ducks. And my neighbor, the game warden, is at the end of the road, like a roadblock down there. And we pulled up. I was like, "Holy shit! What's going on here?" It's right at the end of the road down there. And he took one look at Slade and he said, "You look like you're one of the guys from Duck Dynasty." So I mentioned that at the Duck Unlimited dinner, Galen game wardens and stuff like that. And the next one was the DU chapter president for this county, and he's a former naval aviator and a really good guy. And we got to talking about Slade. He's all into this SEAL stuff and a naval aviator and did all this, and he just assumed that Slade was a shotgunner. We're taking the boys out. They got their limited ducks today. We did really good. And it was just the youth hunt. They couldn't hunt. And he said, so, referring to duck hunting, he said, so Slade, what type of shotgun do you prefer using? And he was relating that to hunting. And he goes, Slade looked back at him and he goes, "The only shotguns I've ever used are that long, and they were strapped to my side, and I'd blow the hinges off of bad guy doors before we went in and killed them all." And he looked at him and he went, like Slade was like, "That's all the experience I got with it. It was that long and slung on my side." So I related that to the Ducks Unlimited people there. It went over pretty good. So Slade really wants to come back up and hunt ducks with the boys where he can shoot. Yeah. So if Wazo would quit inviting fucking reconnaissance Marines that are just going to get your ass tossed out of here, I won't let you stay. You're getting grilled. I want to see your DD-214 before you come up here. It's going to break Greg's heart because that's his drinking buddy, I guess. But
well, I'm thinking about all you guys out there in California. Damn, I tell you, them wildfires out there are just unbelievable. I don't know what that PG&E or whatever the hell the name of it, I don't know what they got going on out there, but there is too many fires in California.
Tech drivers. What's going? Yeah, California's gone. It's I got to see tech drivers thing here. I don't know. The Coastie married a woman with worms just for free fishing bait.
Oh, for God's sake! Yes, somebody asked up here about being a shellback. I'm not. Well, I mean, Dawn is. When I was one of the first females ever on a ship many, many moons ago. And actually, we did not make long deployments. The ship was just commissioned. I was attached to the ship before it even got commissioned. So, my ship, the USS McKee, AS-41, a subtender, it did Westpac cruises and all that stuff after I got out. But I never was fortunate enough to get the shit beat out of me and become a shellback. But Dawn is one.
I did it on the Lockwood, and then I got to beat ass on the USS Peleliu.
And Dawn's grandfather also was a shellback.
And I got pictures of him in World War I crossing the equator. What a freaky picture that is, those old costumes and throwing the guys over the side of the ship. Crazy. Yeah, I think it's pissing on the fires in California. California's gone. And the unfortunate part of California is they're all going to migrate east. And just stop at that. Don't come to Maryland. We don't want you here. Don't come here. They are. It's burning. It's earthquakes. And
you're going to piss off all of our Cali friends on here.
You guys are protecting moles. These moles in the ground. You won't burn the brush out there. You get too wrapped up around destroying moles and black-footed mice and shit like that. And you fucking sacrifice and everything. You got earthquakes out there, and you're all nuts anyhow. So I don't know why we can't get that San Andreas fault line just show you guys a little bit more toward Hawaii and leave us the hell alone around here. You're terrible, terrible people.
Pep, that was Isaac that came down here, the Marine that was burned, and he is doing well. We didn't get to go to his party. They were throwing him a big change of command party or something up there. They were having it in D.C., and we didn't get to go, but he's doing great. Still stays in touch with Suezo and Herman and everybody on here, so we hope to get him back sometime soon, but he's a busy boy.
Yeah, Isaac's a busy boy. He's on the fast track promotion wise stuff, and got a new gig now, so we'll try to get him up, but I gotta mix the groups up here. I can't keep doing the same groups with the same things. The wounded guy, I'm going to get in a hum here. I'm going to get more dudes in, so Suezo's troubling. But we'll get him back here with some guys and get the whole thing going on here. So, yeah, it's been a rough year. That's where the hesitancy comes from. Still staging some of this. I pulled off a good youth hunt. Things are looking up. I do need some more rain, but it's been tough this year. It's been really tough this year around here, and continues to. Somebody
asked here about the blue tongue thing. We haven't been seeing any more dead deer, but we are not seeing any deer. We're not seeing any deer around here. I think the guy, Chuck, that came and brought his sons hunting said that he'd saw a buck when he was turning into our property, but I haven't seen any. And I even mentioned to Don today, I said, I guess you're just not going to deer hunt this year because there's no deer. And he was like, no, I guess I won't. But boy, we sure could use we like having that venison in the freezer. We grind it all up. We keep the back strap. But we just turn it all into burger, and the boys love it when they come down here. Venison chili, all that venison burgers are really good. So,
well, when we talked to the game warden up here, he was with another guy that was 2 farms down, and I like a lot. And that was one of the first things I asked. What are you guys doing? Waiting for the deer hunters to come out or something like that. One guy's a hunter, I forget what it was, but deer hunting came in. I said, I saw you hunting over there the other day. Did you get anything? He's like, no. What are you seeing? Nothing. And the year before, I stopped him on the road, and I said, he was just coming out, and had a great year. And I said, you seeing anything good? And he goes, check this out. He pulled out his phone, and he clicked on a picture, and it was a monster buck right there, and it had 3 antlers. It was a perfectly formed big rack buck, and it had another big antler. I've never seen anything like it. And that drought, this is a neck, is what this is. We live really on a peninsula. When you drive down Barneck Road, there's water there and there's water there, and you're going down a peninsula. And when there's nothing but brackish water and there's no puddles or fields or anything to drink out of, those deer got to get off of this peninsula and go somewhere. So a lot of that had to do with it, but he was talking about the amount of deer they found with blue tongue, and we are not alone. That blue tongue has spread rapidly through this county as well as others from lack of rain. The deer can't drink. There's nothing for them to drink. And it affects, but it'll recover and recover quickly. That's for sure.
Well, Greg was telling Dawn the other day on their big farm down there, they've got crop damage permits, and he said, "You guys, are you interested in getting a deer, the meat?" And we're like, "Hell yeah, we will." They do that because they have to do it for crop damage. But yeah, we'll take them.
That's the most insane shit I've ever heard of. That one, I've been here for a few years. I never heard that. They had them in Virginia, and I participated in it before. I had a buddy there. I was really kind of upset about it. Why are you shooting deer in June? And he got all over me about it. And then a while later, he pointed out in that bean field, and he said, "You look out there and all those deer." And there was a bunch of them out there. And he goes, "That's not. You're only seeing that. You don't know what's behind them, and they are going to spend the entire night in this field eating, and they're going to do it again next night. And we need to get them out, but they lose their young, so they have that here, but they also have crop damage going on now to kill the deer for eating your crops next year. They're not even eating your crops now. They're already been harvested, but they give these permits to kill enough of them so that they don't eat their crops next year. It doesn't make any damn sense to me, with this view, what's going on around here. Never mind, I'm on a roll. I'm really not happy about the whole situation. It limits my options here. So.
Oh,
We can always shoot clay pigeons. They're a little tough to cook. But what's going on here? What are we up to?
I don't know. I'm having a tough time seeing. I guess I put my glasses on.
Go ahead. You're an old tech. Herding chickens. Photography course. I don't know if that's going to work in places. Some good duck hunting. I think we're going to get some more rain. Everything will work out and come back. So, you got a liberal coming to D.C. for work? I thought you guys didn't leave California, man. What is up with that, Donko? I do think, what's those ankle bracelets that the felons wear and shit like that? I think anytime a resident of California leaves California, you should be required to wear an ankle bracelet.
So they can track you.
So they can track you and make sure you're not trying to populate anywhere around here or migrate in.
Donko has such a take it off the cheek, just lets us just mess with him all the time, and we appreciate it. But Donko, if you're coming to DC, please give us a heads up and give us plenty of notice, because this is our busy time of year. And I've got to go back and see my mama at some point in December. I've got to go see my mom again. And for everybody that asked, my mom is doing very well, and she looks good. She looks better than she's looked in 3 years, so Mom is happy.
And Donko, you're welcome down here anytime. You get DC, but just give us some heads up so I can lock the gate.
Yeah, we confirmed Dick Marcinko's not in the Mexican prison.
That's crazy. Donko, yeah, give us a call when you come into town, bro. You're welcome here. Love to meet you. That Marcinko thing, I tell you, the fucking phone calls I get from these strange people. But master manipulators, the guy was manipulated and just was infatuated with Marcinko, and then his shit went sideways, and then he went on the offensive. And now Marcinko is got nothing better to do than drill holes in the walls and videotape his buddies going after little girls. And it makes a lot of sense. He's just a strange guy.
Flairsy, I don't think so. I think that once they get that blue tongue disease, they just die. And so if you got a good, healthy deer walking around that's harvested hunting, then there's no worry.
They're fine. It's happened before. That's the crazy thing about Mother Nature. Man, she will thin the herd. And that involves us, too. It's where all your measles and swine flu, everything. One day she's going to catch us but good. One day we're not going to smoke her. But giving these deer all this rabies to the animals, she'll thin them out real quick. So maybe it's a good thing. I don't know. I don't mess with her too much. But Tucker Dream with a bullet in the roof. I was telling somebody about the roof rack on my dad's truck the other day. Between me and my two brothers, there were bullet holes in every wind vane, chimney, roof rack. There were just
Dresser.
Dressers. Never mind that story. But
I have the little bitty Ninja. I don't have the good Ninja like I'm Cure Pep because you have a lot of cool things. You do a lot of cooking, but they sell a Ninja in GNC that I saw, and I'd like to have that. My problem, my little Ninja is just about that big. It's little. It's just for small amounts. But compared to my house in Chesapeake, I have a shit ton of storage in this house. But because I cook big vats of things for all the wounded guys down here, everything I have is huge. So I am limited still to the storage that I have. I have a mud room out here that's packed with Don's hunting gear and hunting clothes for the guys. And I actually went and bought the big stackable plastic shelves. And I counted the other day, I've got 4 crock pots. I've got the big roaster thing. I'm already out of room, and I need more storage. So, but yeah, the Ninja things are absolutely good. Most of the stuff I make, I like stuff really chunky. I don't like it so fine. So if I make homemade salsa, I want it chunky. Spaghetti sauce is chunky, so I don't grind very much up. I know you're bored.
I think maybe I forgot Life's a Drag, the third part of that question. We always had team numbers. I don't even remember what my team number was at Team 2, but we had team numbers. And 60 something, I don't know what it is. But the guys will deploy with those patches. They have a unit patch. They don't make up shit, but you might see A5, and that means Alpha Squad, the 5th senior guy in that platoon, or the 5th in patrol. A5, B2, of course your platoon commander's A1, shit like that. So that's all it is. It's a designation for him to patrol and which one he's in, and it's easier to sort our clothes that way.
Speaking of food, I'm cooking tomorrow. I'm cooking all day tomorrow. I have been craving the weirdest shit since I've been on this diet. And I love turnip greens, mustard greens. I love turnips. So I went to the store today and loaded up. I can't remember if I ever showed you guys on here how to make killed lettuce. In Tennessee, it's called wilted lettuce. And it's absolutely delicious. So I'm making that. Don wanted beans and rice, so I'm making that. And everybody's asked me about cornbread. Well, cornbread everywhere else in the world is made out of yellow cornmeal, and it has little sugar in there. It's sweet. But in the South, in the deep South, it's made out of white cornmeal, and it ain't sweet. It's good. So I'm going to show y'all how to make some cornbread tomorrow, and we're going to eat big. Greg has been begging for country fried steak, chicken fried steak, he calls it.
Keep right on begging.
So I'm going to cook for Greg and Lynn this week and just blow our diets all to hell, I reckon. Yeah, Mick, those bread makers, my girlfriend had one, and she just sort of threw everything in there, and it was just so easy. I think you're going to like that thing. That would be my downfall, because that's why I'm fat. Not from candy, but because of bread and pasta and starch. That's what I like.
They still do the dog tags, but they have become less and less important. Now, we never fucked with any of that shit. They give them to you in boot camp, whether you can keep up with them or not. But dog tags were a way of identifying your dead body. When a bazooka round hit you in the head, nobody could identify you. You had your dog tags, and they would leave one on you. They had two. One on a big chain around your neck, and then the other one was a little chain around the big chain with another one on. And when they, World War II, Saving Private Ryan, they would unsnap that little one, put it in their pocket to say, well, Shipley's dead. And they'd leave the other one on your body. It was for identification. Well, now with DNA, they know who is in the tomb of the unknown soldier. It's a terrible thing, but they don't much screw around with dog tags anymore because they were for identifying your unidentifiable body, and they can do that really easy with DNA. And we did the DNA thing at Team 2. They came around and wanted everybody's DNA because in the unlikely event that you are blown to bits, we'll be able to identify you. And I went, well, okay, whatever. And we went up and gave blood. And one of my buddies came up to me after that, and he was like, you didn't do that, did you? I said, yeah, why? He was like, if you ever rape or murder anybody, they've got your DNA, man. You are busted that quick, dude. You're gone. And I was like, no shit. Duh. I think it was an FBI scam to increase their database. Maybe we should give all the military, and they'd have this much bigger database to invade our privacy over. It's like, damn, you shouldn't have done that, man. So that's probably why I'm as good as I am, because they got my DNA on file.
Oh, God. So my nickname everywhere has always been Tennessee. All in the military, all through boot camp, all on the ship. Nobody called me Diane, everybody called me Tennessee. So I'm sure if I was a SEAL, my nickname would probably be Tennessee too.
I have a few nicknames for her.
Mm-hmm. I got for you too.
Mr. Hammer.
No.
That's what she calls me, Mr. Hammer.
Don's got Sari on our phones. I have an Australian guy on mine, and he calls me sweetheart. And Don Sari on his phone calls him Mr. Meat Hammer. So whenever he presses the button to ask Sari a question, she says, "How can I help you, Mr. Meat Hammer?" It's so funny. Yeah, just keep on calling me Tennessee. I'm proud of it. I love it.
Yeah, they were doing all that DNA to all the Taliban, all the ISIS guys. They chop their hand off. They take one hand. That was another bit with some of that. It was important to collect that. So you can sit there with your surgical gloves and gown and so with a thing, you can take that tomahawk and just chop that hand off so that they have the future DNA. If any, that's how the whole Bin Laden thing, it's all the DNA now to keep track of these guys and know who's who in the zoo and who your kids are and all that other stuff. So it's crazy.
Shit on a shingle. I actually made that for Don day before yesterday.
Yeah. I saw it in the store. It's just a little pack of it. I love that shit. So.
Yep, it's good.
Shit on a shingle. Yeah, it's good stuff. So, absolutely. Well,
we got Walking Dead tonight.
I'm not into that show too much anymore. I'm certainly not into Empire anymore. That's one of our favorite shows, even though that shit's just completely out of control. But Walking Dead, they had to let me script that thing one time. I'll tell you how to get people's attention back.
Now, what would you do?
That would be like going through a hospital looking for medical supplies, and they open the door to the maternity ward, and all these little crawlers come out.
That'd be too much. That'd send everybody over the edge. I'd never be able to sleep if I saw baby walkers.
But I just don't know how they can keep. I mean, how long can these walkers go on for? Don't they decompose? I mean, what's going on here? But
it's a show, Don.
Well, now it's getting into the whisperers.
Well, they're freaky.
Yeah, well, they got to keep it going. I don't know. They got to do it like Survivor, because I never get tired of that show. That's with me, the 23andMe DNA. That's yeah. Curse of Oak Island is coming back on, but yeah, the 23andMe DNA tests. You got to watch out. You guys have committed crimes, Donko, California, they'll catch up to you, man.
Terry, I can't. We started watching that Fear of the Walking Dead, and we just can't get into it. It just sort of seems stupid. We watched it because there wasn't anything else on, but we haven't watched that in a long time. Yeah. Not enough killing or something in it. I guess we're sadistic.
I would love to see Dan Bernath on The Walking Dead.
Hey. Ooh, you be easy there. That's got bad juju all over it.
I would love to see him get it, and then get it the second time when he turned into a walker. I don't know. No, it's okay. It's okay.
Pop, I am not related to Popcorn Sutton, but my family is good friends, and his wife, Pam, and I graduated high school together, and Pam is my friend. My mom and sister and my whole family was at Popcorn's wedding, and I, too, still have the black original bottle of Popcorn Sutton moonshine that my nephew gave me, and I have it out on my back porch on my old wood stove, so I also have that. But he was a great old guy. Everybody in our town loves him to death, and he killed himself because they were going to send him to the penitentiary, and I'll be damned, about a year after Popcorn died, now moonshine is legal, and it's just being sold everywhere, so just a waste. They ought to let the old guy go. He never hurt anybody. He just was a good old guy.
Yeah, it's too bad. I heard there's something up here, the meat grinder. We had a chick at Team 2 they called Vanessa the Undresser.
Hey.
What?
She might be on here.
I don't think so. I liked her a lot.
Oh, I know. All the wives knew her, too.
Vanessa the Undresser.
Every time she'd walk by Dawn, I'd say, "You stay away from my fucking husband." And she'd just laugh.
Never bothered those gals.
Yeah. I don't believe that.
Donko, I don't know what I'd do with a DNA test. I just heard nightmares. So, Warrior and them, the Warrior is so stupid. I let him out the front door, and he will sit at the back. That's where he's at. He's at the back door right now. I can hear Michonne out there. She's just as dumb. Coda was smart enough to go back in the door I let him out because I kept it propped open so the cat could crap. And they're just sitting out there in the dark and the cold, waiting for us to come over. They're too dumb to come back through that door. So it's cold here. It's winter time. Get the boiler lit off. Time to get some Yuletide shit going on around here. And I was a little chilly in that blind. I guess it's catching up to me or something.
And I got my jukebox working.
Oh yeah, she did.
I finally found a guy. He came out here. He was here for over 3 hours. He went over that thing with a fine-tooth comb, got it all cleaned up and oiled. It works like a champ. He replaced the bulbs, so I got on the internet and I ordered some more modern records because it's all deep, deep country, and I like country music, but Don doesn't, so I ordered some Kiss. I ordered some ZZ Top, Ray Charles. I ordered some of that stuff. So when all my friends come down for Christmas this year, we'll have something to do the jitterbug to.
The only thing he couldn't do was disable that you don't have to put money in it. So we're happy about that. And Donko, you bring a few dollar bills when you come down here and shove them in there, buddy.
Oh yeah, Greg, he's whining like a little bitch. He's cold.
9 plays for $1. Who, me?
Mm-hmm.
Too much time in the winter, man. My hands go numb, toes, everything. It's just one of those things we have to deal with. So I reset the video. Thank you, Terry, and I am going to call you tomorrow because I got a big surprise for all of us, and hopefully it'll work out. If you can't do it, Greg has decided he'd like to join our little party.
And I've decided that I want him to. Greg's going to be a big help. And Greg's going to help.
We'll let it go there.
Okay.
I will. It's been a weird weekend, Terry, so sorry. Terry has reset the video. That looks like about it for us. Anything is reset. This code we're getting. No, there's boxes we have to check when we end the video, and Terry is just telling me, don't worry about it, I already did it. So he's got some shit going on. He's done a good job on this thing. All right. Time for an eggnog and rum.
I like eggnog.
That sounds pretty damn good, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that does sound good.
All right, Trucker Dame, we'll see you all. We'll see you all.
Love you guys. Bye.
All right. Good night, folks. Good night.
Chuck wasn't on here tonight.